Embry cost tiers. The first thing you decide is whether you want to own equipment. The lowest cost entry in this market is what the industry calls a spoke location. You take calls, collect remains, transport animals to a cremation hub that someone else owns, and return ashes with merchandise. You are not a crematory. You are a logistics and customer experience layer on top of one. According to the Pet Passages franchise model, currently the dominant U.S. franchise brand in this space, a spoke location runs between $129,000 and $263,000 all in. Franchise fee, build-out, refrigeration, a properly equipped vehicle, and first-year working capital. You process animals. You sell urns, paw print kits, and cremation jewelry. You do not own a retort. The second tier is a full hub location with your own cremation retort. A commercial animal cremation retort, the actual piece of hardware, runs from approximately $30,000 for a low-capacity single-chamber unit to $150, zero or more for a high-throughput dual-chamber setup that meets EPA afterburner temperature standards. Add build-out, permits, working capital, and franchise costs. And Pet Passages puts the full hub investment range at $211,000 to $563,000. Forever Friends, another franchise competitor, quotes $271,825 to $427,500 plus a $50,000 franchise fee. Going independent, no brand affiliation, compresses the range to roughly $100,000 to $300,000, depending on equipment sourcing. The SBA will finance 70 to 80% of startup costs in this category, which is one of the few genuinely favorable conditions this business offers you. The third tier is a regional operator, multiple locations, 20 to 40 veterinary clinic accounts feeding your route, a fleet of collection vehicles, employed cremation technicians, and annual revenues between $1 million and $3 million. At this level, you are writing a check between $800,000 and $2 million for an existing business or a planned multi-unit build-out. The fourth tier, you are not going to build, you are going to buy. In April 2025, CVS Group, the largest publicly traded veterinary group in the United Kingdom, sold its entire crematory operations division to Anima Care UK Limited, a subsidiary of Funicap Group, the French funeral services conglomerate. The price was $42.4 million, approximately $53 million US. CVS's crematoria division had generated £12 million in revenue and $4.3 million in adjusted EBITDA in the prior fiscal year. The transaction closed May 19, 2025 at a valuation of exactly 10 times adjusted EBITDA. That multiple would not be out of place for a software-as-a-service company in a bull market. It was paid for a business that processes deceased animals. That is the ceiling this industry has demonstrated it can touch. The gauntlet there is no federal agency that regulates pet cremation. This sounds like favorable news. It is not. What the absence of federal oversight actually means is that each state has invented its own compliance framework, or invented nothing at all, which produces a regulatory landscape where the rules are inconsistent, poorly documented, and enforced intermittently until something goes visibly and publicly wrong. Only 9 states have specific pet crematory licensing statutes: California, New York, Texas, Arizona, Virginia, Georgia, North Carolina, Maryland, and Illinois. In every other state, you are regulated through General Business Licensing, your county environmental board, or, if you're operating adjacent to a licensed funeral home, the State Funeral Services Commission, which is a different regulatory category with different inspection cadences. Here is what the permitting process looks like in a typical permissive state. Standard business license, $100 to $500, 2 to 4 weeks. Local zoning approval, this is where projects go to die. Animal processing facilities generate odor complaints, neighbor opposition, and organized resistance from residential associations who do not want to know what happens next door. Zoning hearings take 1 to 3 months and cost $500 to $2,000 in fees before you account for any redesign work imposed as a condition of approval. EPA air quality permit, $2,000 to $5,000, 2 to 6 months. Your retort produces emissions. The EPA secondary combustion standard requires afterburner temperatures of at least 4,800 degrees Fahrenheit, and your equipment needs documented test results to prove it can meet that requirement consistently. Waste handling permit, another $500 to $2,000, another 1 to 3 months. Total timeline from lease signing to first customer, 6 to 12 months in a cooperative jurisdiction. One equipment documentation error in Arizona restarts your air permit application. In a dense California market, zoning approval alone routinely takes 18 months. The operators who understand this hire a zoning consultant before they sign a lease. The operators who don't understand this discover it after they've already signed one. The smarter about while your permits are processing, you do not sit on your capital. You enter immediately through the spoke model. No equipment, no retort inspection, no emissions documentation, by negotiating a revenue share arrangement with an existing hub operator. You are collecting animals, selling the service, managing the customer relationship, and routing the physical work to someone who has already cleared the regulatory path you are still navigating. This is not a workaround. It is the documented entry strategy of the industry's leading franchise. Pet Passage's founding location ran on this model and generated $715,000 in revenue with $221, $0 in EBITDA, a 31% margin in 2023. That result was achieved without the flagship location owning its cremation equipment as the primary revenue driver. You are arbitraging a margin between what the end customer pays and what the hub charges you for processing. The moment your own hub is permitted and operational, you capture the processing margin as well. The principle is this: equipment ownership is not necessary to generate income. It is necessary to generate scale. The real mechanism here is the simplest way to understand how the money actually works. Think of a car wash where every customer feels a social obligation to upgrade. A communal cremation, multiple animals processed together, no ashes returned, costs you roughly $15 to $40 in fuel and labor. You charge $50 to $150. That is your floor product. A private cremation, one animal, ashes returned, costs $40 to $80 all in on your side. You charge $200 to $400. That is your standard product. Now add merchandise. A ceramic urn sourced wholesale costs $8 to $25. You sell it for $80 to $250. A paw print casting kit, $3 at cost, $40 to $80 retail. Cremation jewelry, a small metal pendant containing a portion of ashes, costs $15 to $30 at wholesale. Retail price, $150 to $400. Memorial merchandise lifts average ticket size by 30% or more, and the customer who just lost a pet is not comparison shopping urns on your checkout counter. The cremation is the entry point. The merchandise is the margin. Every per unit number you run on cremation alone understates the economics by a third. At a one operator spoke location averaging 15 cremations per week with a $280 blended ticket, you are generating approximately $218,000 annually. At a 25% operating margin, achievable once you have your vet clinic referral base established, that is $54,500 in net income before debt service. Viable, not remarkable. Now run it at scale. CVS Group's crematory division, 12 million pounds in revenue, $4.3 million in EBITDA, margin 35.8%, sale price $42.4 million. The EBITDA multiple means that every additional $430, zero in annual EBITDA you create adds $4.3 million to what a buyer will pay for your business. The math of scale in this industry is not subtle. Case Study A, Vereb Funeral Home and Eternity Pet Memorial, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Patrick Vereb, age 70, operated Vereb Funeral Home in Pittsburgh for decades. He also operated a parallel business, Eternity Pet Memorial, which offered individual and private pet cremation services to families across 4 Pennsylvania counties. Over an extended period, Vereb collected payment from customers for private cremation services that explicitly promised their specific animal would be cremated alone and its ashes returned. According to the charge documents released by Pennsylvania Attorney General Dave Sunday in early 2025, Vereb did not provide those services. He disposed of thousands of dogs and cats at a landfill. He then returned to customers' ashes sourced from other animals, remains from communal cremations, or unidentified origins, packaged in the urns that had been purchased for their individual pet. More than 500 owners were affected. Total fraud, approximately $650,000. Vereb was charged with felony counts of theft by deception, receiving stolen property, and deceptive business practices. As of this writing, the case is scheduled for trial in June 2026. No conviction or sentence has been issued. The mechanism of this fraud is not sophisticated. It required no technology, no financial engineering, no network of co-conspirators, and no specialized criminal knowledge. It required only the understanding that no customer could verify what happened after they handed over the body. In most U.S. states, pet cremation has no mandatory chain of custody documentation. There is no third-party audit. There is no isotope analysis that can confirm the ashes in a returned urn match the animal that was brought in. The gap Vereb exploited was not created by negligence. It was created by design, or rather, by the complete absence of one. A whistleblower contacted CBS Pittsburgh. That is the entire accountability infrastructure. Case Study B 1ST Call Pet Cremation, Las Vegas. Nevada-Richard Rick Seneger ran first Call Pet Cremation in Las Vegas. The failure mode here is different from Vereb's in one specific way. The physical evidence ended up in Utah. In 2023, customers who had paid first Call Pet Cremation for cremation services began raising complaints that the remains they received did not seem right. Investigators established that Seneger had, in at least 16 documented cases, provided customers with substitute materials instead of cremated remains, fake ashes, not wrong ashes. The actual animals were not processed. Dozens of pets whose owners had paid for cremation were found dumped more than 100 miles outside Las Vegas in rural Utah. 2 separate dump sites were identified. First Call Pet Cremation officially closed on October 31, 2023. Mackenzie Fry, who worked at First Call Pet Cremation, pleaded guilty to multiple counts of unlawfully disposing of an animal carcass. Her sentence: a suspended jail term, a $700 fine, and 24 hours of community service. Richard Seneger reached a plea agreement in April 2026. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of felony theft. He agreed to pay 10,896 pounds in restitution. Prosecutors did not oppose probation. He will not go to prison. The restitution figure works out to less than $700 per documented victim in the formal charges, a number that does not account for the animals that were never located or traced. The combined sentence for everyone involved in an operation that dumped dozens of family pets in the Utah desert is $700 fine, 24 hours community service, and probation. That outcome is not an anomaly produced by unusual circumstances. It is the demonstrated consequence structure for this specific category of fraud in the current regulatory environment. The legitimate business and the fraudulent business have identical customer interfaces up until the moment the customer takes the urn home. The only operational difference is whether you use the equipment you told them you had. Rules to survive: 1. Implement chain of custody documentation before you open your doors, not in response to a complaint. Every animal that enters your facility receives a numbered ID tag at intake. That number follows the animal through every stage of processing and is confirmed on the return receipt with a timestamp log. This is not legally required in most states. It is how you prove in the event of any allegation that you are not running Eternity Pet Memorial. 2. If you are operating a spoke model and routing remains to a third-party hub, you need written audit rights in your contract and periodic reconciliation that the hub's processing volume matches your client records. Your customer bought the service from you. Your liability does not transfer to the hub because the retort is not on your property. 3. Run your merchandise attach rate aggressively from month 1. The $400 cremation that returns a custom urn, a paw print casting, and a sympathy acknowledgement generates a referral rate that is measurably higher than the $180 cremation that returns a cardboard box. This is not sentiment management. It is customer acquisition cost arithmetic. Your veterinary clinic partners are watching how clients talk about you. 4. Understand that your exit valuation is a multiple of EBITDA, not a multiple of revenue. The CVS Crematoria division sold at 10 times EBITDA. Every unnecessary cost dollar in your operation does not cost you $1. It costs you 10 at exit. Every dollar of EBITDA added through route density and merchandise margin adds 10 to the check a buyer writes you. In structural fragility, the single biggest existential threat to the pet cremation business model as it currently operates is not regulatory tightening, though that is coming. It is alkaline hydrolysis. Also called aquamation, water cremation, or biocremation, alkaline hydrolysis uses a pressurized solution of water and potassium hydroxide to dissolve soft tissue at elevated temperature over 3 to 4 hours, leaving behind a sterile bone matrix. Energy consumption is approximately 90% lower than flame cremation. It produces no direct stack emissions. There is no particulate output. No EPA air quality permit is required for the process itself. From an environmental compliance standpoint, it is categorically superior to flame cremation by every measurable metric. Alkaline hydrolysis for pets is currently legal in at least 21 U.S. states and is gaining regulatory approval in additional jurisdictions every year. Equipment costs for a commercial aquamation unit now run $50,000 to $150,000, overlapping almost exactly with mid-tier retort pricing. Several major veterinary groups in the UK and Australia have already begun transitioning to aquamation as the primary processing method. The global pet cremation market is projected to reach $798 million by 2034. The operators who capture that growth will be serving a customer base that has become aware of the aquamation alternative, is being offered it by veterinary clinics as the premium eco option, and is increasingly in municipalities where state environmental regulators are tightening emission standards on existing flame cremation equipment. If you are buying a flame retort in 2025 and planning to operate it for 15 years, you are making a bet that aquamation does not reach the regulatory tipping point in your market within that window. That bet may be correct. It is worth knowing you are making it. Final calculation time to pull it all together and answer the actual question. How much money do you actually make if you do this right? Scenario 1. You open a spoke location in a secondary market, a metropolitan area with 400,000 to 800,000 residents, a solid base of independent veterinary clinics, and no dominant existing pet cremation operator. Total investment, $190,000. That breaks down as $60,000 franchise fee, $80,000 build out and refrigeration, $30, sell zero vehicle and containment equipment, and $20,000 in working capital. You spend your first year building vet clinic referral relationships, targeting 20 active accounts within 12 months. By month 18, you are processing 12 to 15 cremations per week through your hub partner. Average ticket is $260, including merchandise. Annual revenue, approximately $195,000. Annual costs, staff at $45,000, vehicle and fuel at $15,000, hub cremation fees at $38,000, rent at $18,000, royalties and marketing at $20,000, and miscellaneous overhead at $12,000. Total costs $148,000. Net profit $47,000 per year. Payback period on your $190,000 investment, just over 4 years at that run rate. If you reach 20 cremations per week by year 3, net profit climbs to $78, zero annually, and your payback compresses to under 3 years. Scenario 2. You are a regional operator opening a hub facility with your own retort in a major metro area, 1.5 million or more residents, an established vet clinic network, and you are buying or building the full infrastructure. Total investment, $520,000, covering the retort, full facility build-out, fleet, permits, and 18 months of working capital. At operating scale, 40 cremations per week, $300 average ticket. Annual revenue reaches $624,000. Cost structure. Cremation technician at $55,000. Route driver at $42,000. Customer service at $38,000. Facility costs at $60,000. Fuel and vehicle maintenance at $20,000. Royalties and marketing at $35,000. Utilities including cremation energy at $30,000 and miscellaneous at $20,000. Total costs $300,000. Net profit $324,000 per year. Payback period on $520,000. Under 2 years. At 10 times EBITDA, the multiple the institutional market has demonstrated it will pay. That business is worth $3.24 million on the open market. Neither scenario includes the variant where you collect the bodies, pocket the fees, and drive to a landfill. That approach has slightly better short-term cash flow. The long-term outcome is a trial date in Pennsylvania and your name on this channel. The paradox you started with is that pet cremation is in fact a legitimate business with genuine, verifiable unit economics and a structural tailwind that will run for at least a decade. The problem is that every feature that makes it legitimate, the emotional urgency, the absence of verification, the fragmented regulatory environment, the recurring demand, is precisely the same set of features that has attracted operators who have methodically betrayed every customer they touched. You are going to build it correctly. The market has room for you. Just know that you are entering an industry where the price of being indistinguishable from the fraudsters is paid by the customer, not the regulator. If this is the kind of analysis you come here for, subscribe. The next episode is already queued.